Greetings, parents. This is Principal Patton, and thank you all so much for those third, fourth, and fifth grade parents who were able to come to our in-person parent meeting that we had. However, for those who are unable to attend, I am doing this recording for you so you can get all the valuable information and you can say that it was shared with you as well. First, let me give you the why. The purpose of this meeting is just to let you know and be proactive of things that we are looking forward to these last 9 weeks. Many things sometimes, as far as behaviors, get ramped up in these last 9 weeks. And there's also questions about retention as well as summer school that we'll also address as well. And also the help that we'll need from you to make sure that we end as best as we can on a great note for the last 9 weeks. First, if you recall, back in November, we had a parent data meeting and we included some of this information. The attendance rate was at 91.8%. As you can see, chronic absenteeism was at 30.1. And what chronic absenteeism is, for the number of days that we're in school, if a student misses 10% of those days. For example, if we've been in school for 100 days, a student who's missed 10 days or more of those 100, they're considered chronically absent. In November, we had about 30% of our student body who was considered chronically absent. Our suspension rate was at 1%, which means that we did not suspend many kids in the months of August, September, October, and early November. It was at 1%. And we want to keep that number low as best as possible. And at that time, there was no one who had to be expelled. Up to this week, as you look, our attendance rate is about the same. Ideally, we want to be at this 95% range because there are many elementary schools in Memphis Shelby County schools who hit that 95% range, and you want to be as close to 100 as possible. But ideally and realistically, we can get to 95%. And that means getting your children here and to school on time every day. The chronic absenteeism rate, as you can see, we're going in the wrong direction with that. We're currently at 36.7%. Ideally, we want to be at 15% or less. So we need to get our children here and to school every day. We'll double what we want to see our ideal number to be. And as you can look at the suspension rate, it's currently at 6.6% and it's growing. And we don't want it to grow anymore. Ideally 1% or less when possible. Because as you can see, in November, it was at 1% and in March, it's at 6.6%. And if you've been in education for any number of years, you'll know that as the summertime hits or close to when the temperature gets warm, you'll notice that things or negative behaviors start to rise. And the same thing happens in school. And we're trying to prevent that. So parents, we do need your help. So please help us with that by speaking to your kids about making good choices and doing the right things all the time. Now, some of the things that we need to address back in November that you'll see some commonalities as well that we'll have in March when I go to the next slide. Coming to school on time was an issue then, and it's still an issue now. We want your kids to be punctual. We want them to learn punctuality. These are learned behaviors. We want you to make sure that you bring your kids to school on time because every day there's valuable instruction that will be missed when they're not here. Also, get them here regularly every day. Every day it's a learning opportunity from the time we start school to the time that we end. And we are an 8:15 school. And we need to make sure that you get your kids here and let them stay the entire day, which means try to minimize checking them out early so that they can be here for the entire day. Another thing, teaching the kids social skills. A lot of our kids sometimes are quick to not use their words or communicate, but they'll get physical. We need them to learn social skills, not just from us, the teachers, but from you, the parents as well. Also, get the students to wear their school uniforms because believe it or not, when a student does not wear their uniforms, they sometimes do not act how they should when they are in uniform. So please encourage that and make them do that as well. As you look at when we update to March, some of the same things we need to address. Attendance. We'll be taking our TCAP test starting on April 18th through the 29th. And we need the students here every day, but it's especially important on TCAP days. We don't want them to have to make up any tests, and we want to make sure that they're here and we get that valuable information and see how much they've grown with the standards they've been taught this year. We also need to we need to look at late arrival and early dismissal, because we have so many children that come in after 8:15. We're at 8:15 school, and I let students in as early as 7:50 on some days so that they can come and get out of the elements. And also, if you can, we understand that things come up, but try not to let your students dismiss early. Keep them here every day, because that last hour of the day, we do intervention in times where we can allow to help students get the valuable learning that they need with any deficits that they may have in that last hour of the day. And we don't want them to miss that. I'm going to touch on this a little bit later with possible retention in summer school. We'll go more in depth later on. But again, there may be a possibility that some children will be getting retention or summer school notices as we work on that right now. So just we'll go over that a few minutes in the next upcoming slides. Also, early registration and enrollment. Please make sure that if you have not, to register your child early, whether hopefully they'll still be going to Keystone next year or some Memphis Shelby County school. And if they do, please register them now and early. And we'll talk about the implications that has if we do not have enough students registering early. And also to be proactive with discipline concerns that we see the last 9 weeks. We want to address some of those as well. Now, ways to improve attendance rate and reduce chronic absenteeism. Parents, we need your help. These are children. They can't do anything without your approval or your say-so. So please make sure that you get them here every single day. We want to stress the importance of getting your child here, because every day is learning opportunity. And we also want to make sure that we reduce chronic absenteeism by you getting your children here. But if there is something that comes up, you must communicate with the teachers and the front office so we can know what's going on with you and or your family. And also emphasize the importance of school. Our children value what we value. So make sure that you tell them how important school is and how much it's needed, because they will value what you value. And if you value school and let them know it's important, they're going to feel and say the same thing. But can't just come from the teachers. It must also come from you. Loss of instructional time. Parents, we need you. Again, get the students here on time every day and minimize how often you pick the students up early, because we don't want them missing that valuable instructional time. The same thing with the previous slide. Communicate with the teachers as to why you may need to come pick them up early, but at the same time, minimize that if you can. And also, once again, make sure they know that you believe the school is important, and you also show with your actions that school is important as well. Now, promotion and retention. This is a Memphis Shelby County School policy. This is not a Dr. Patton or Keystone thing. This is Memphis Shelby County School policy. Promotion is based on attainment of 70% or above in both ELA and math. Or if they do have to go to summer school, they must have satisfactory attendance and grades if they need to attend. No teacher wants to hold a student back at all. We all want to see all of our students be promoted to the next grade. However, we don't want them to be unsuccessful in the next grade. In order to do that, you need to get them here every day and on time. However, I want you to know that a student shall not be retained more than one time in any grade, because we want to make sure that we are preparing the kids for their next grade. However, if there are some struggles or some deficits, there may be a need to attend summer school. But let me stress once again, no teacher wants to hold a student back or make a student go to summer school. We always go with the data and what the data tells us to make sure that your student is getting what they need to be successful in upcoming grades. Early registration. If you know your child's going to go to Keystone or any MSCS school, please register them now. Because if you don't register them now, it can definitely impact funding for next year. And how it can negatively impact. It can impact class size in a bad way. For example, if they're projecting us to have 400 students, but we only have 200 or 300 early registered, they're going to look at us and say, we don't need as much as they have allocated for us in the form of teachers and or funds for the school. And when that happens and the students show up early or wait to register in the fall of next year, they've already determined that we didn't need those additional teachers that we had. And when those students show up, they're going to make the class size that was potentially a 20 student class size go up to 30 for a time. And we all know and believe that when you have a smaller class size, it can have tremendous impacts for your students and learning, and they can get more individual attention when there are less students when there are less students in the classroom. So register them early so that they can make sure that we have proper planning and the proper personnel staffed for the school, because we do not want to lose any funding based on the number of students that we have or the number of students that we don't know that we should be having based on people not registering their children early. Now I'm going to read this verbatim. Every year after spring break, student in the last 9 weeks, negative behaviors increase, which result in higher suspension and expulsion rates. Attendance is a concern as well, and this happens every school year. So that goes back to the why of this meeting. I want you all to make sure that you all work with your children to make sure that they make the good decisions all the time. Even some of our most well-behaved students may sometimes make a poor choice that may cost them, and we don't want to suspend or expel. We are a place of learning and we need your help. But we want to make sure that they are not only hearing it from us in the school building, but they're hearing it from you as well. So make sure that your students make the right and the good choices all the time, because we do not want to do that. And again, even some of our most well-behaved students sometimes make poor choices. So talk to them about good decision making and not being followers of a negative crowd. Now, these are things that we've witnessed at Keystone. All of my teachers have attested to this when they were in the meetings with us earlier in the week. Some things that we see at Keystone: walking out of class, disrespect to adults in the building, fighting, social media and talking about fighting, negative language and cussing, yelling and loud talking, negatively influencing others. So talk to your students, talk to your children about not doing these things, especially the last 9 weeks of school, which it always happens to ramp up. And I'm not sure if you allow your children to be on social media, but I am asking you to monitor their social media, because so many times, many issues that we have in the building started outside of the building, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or some other chat rooms the students may have. They talk about different things on there that sometimes filter into the school, and that's what they worry about or they're concerned about. So we need your help to make sure that you are monitoring that aggressively with your children. Be in their business quite often so you can know what's going on and see some of the kind of things that we see in the building, so that you won't be surprised if we do have to call you or do an investigation. But we do need your help. Also, some things that we see: when students aren't able to ignore other students, if someone looks at them the wrong way or something like that, teach them that's not that big of a deal. Humming, making loud, odd noises, or blurting out, especially during testing time, because we need to make sure that the students are making a good environment for everyone to do the best they can on this test coming up and even moving forward. Because many of our students will be easily distracted by different things if kids are making noise and they can't focus and concentrate. Also, when students are trying to be funny at the wrong times or playing at the wrong times, talk to them about time and place. Those are some things that we see where students do things at the wrong time or the wrong place. Many of these behaviors happen or occur when there's a lack of understanding or their grade level standards. So please make sure that you talk to your kids about some of these things that we see at Keystone. Now, these are some of the things that we are doing to make sure that we motivate your children. But again, we need your help. But we're also going to do these things. All of my faculty and staff come together for these things, and it is extra work. These things that I am speaking on are not easy. It is extra work on the teachers, but we are trying to motivate the children best we can. We do student of the week every week. We have our A or attendance parties. Also, many of our teachers do grade level incentives for the students. And a lot of the times it comes out of their own pockets, what they do. We also have our Cougar store, which I'm sure your students have told you about, where they can earn Cougar bucks and dojo points to spend in the Cougar store. Also, if some of those children have some issues, we also give them time with a counselor or behavior specialist. But again, we are doing our best to work with your child and all children, no matter what the issue or concern may be. We're also planning for our spring carnival, which we haven't had in 2 years, but we're working to plan on it. And again, all these things take time, they take energy, and they take effort. And we also have some other interventions that we keep in place as well. Potential consequences: no participation in the spring carnival. And for my fifth grade students, there may be no participation in our fifth grade promotional if there's some bad choices that you all make. Also, no access to the Cougar store at the end of the year. And finally, we do not want to suspend and expel, but if there are any choices or decisions that are made that are in the discipline guide handbook that the assistant principal and myself that we use, then we will have to do so, which we do not want to. We want to keep all kids in school. We're in the business of educating children, not sending them home. But again, the students have to do their part and make good choices all the time. Now, how you can help. Support your teachers and be responsive. If they do not have your contact information, email, please make sure you get that to them so they know how to reach you. Also, don't be defensive when they try to communicate with you. Oftentimes, when they're communicating with you, it's about your child, and no teacher has anything against your child. So please just listen to what he or she has to say and tell you if they do communicate with you. Teachers, this is a very, very thankless and hard job. So we definitely need more assistance from the parents to help us out when you can. All right. When your students come home and tell you any story, you're only going to get one side. So give the teachers, give the administrators time to figure out the whole story so we can give it to you, because no student wants to get in trouble or get caught getting in trouble or making a poor choice. But when they do, they're going to say and do what they can to get out of it. And they're going to make themselves look good in the process. But we need your help to just be, or not be defensive when a parent or teacher tries to communicate with you. Also, keep them off or minimize social media, and also know what they're doing on their social media, because that is how a lot of things start and end up in school, when they start off on some type of platform. If you talk to any number of our fourth and fifth grade, they'll tell you that they are on it, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Instagram or some other chat room. That's where a lot of things start. And I need you to kind of monitor and be in their information as much as possible. Also, again, be patient with the teachers and ask your children what they're working on or learning in school. And then you can see what some of the teachers say when you have some of these conversations with your children. Again, how you can help. Teach your students to use kind words. We don't have enough kindness in the world. So again, if we teach our children now to use kind words with each other, they're going to grow up to be adults who also use kind words as well. Also, teach your children the importance of self-control, keeping their hands to themselves, because that's so important, because that's how things start. Make sure that they know to keep their hands to themselves so that there is no negative action. So many of our parents tell our children, if someone hits you, hit them back. Understand. However, if no one hits anyone first or plays hitting with someone first, nothing will escalate. And going back to the first point, if people use kind words, nothing will escalate as well. But even if unkind words are used, then students should still be taught that people are going to say some malicious or mean things sometimes, and you have to learn to ignore from time to time. However, don't just take it, but tell an adult if someone is truly doing something that is irritating or harming you. But be patient with the teachers to give them time, because they will need time to figure out exactly what happened, because oftentimes a student doesn't give us the whole story, they only gives us their part. And finally, get your children to school on time and allow them to stay the entire school day. And finally, education works best when all parts are working together. It's not just the students, it's not just the teachers, it's not just the parents, it's not just the administrators. It's all of us. We need to work together. If we want to see a better Keystone, a better Raleigh Frazier, a better Memphis, a better country, a better world, we need to work together all the time. And I know Keystone is an amazing school, and it can be even better when all of us work together. So parents, we need your help. So to wrap up, the purpose of this meeting was to let you all know and be proactive of some of the things that we see in the last 9 weeks, and also get your help in helping your students to use the self-control that they need to have, and also let you all know that to be prepared for any potential retention and or promotion or summer school conversation that will be happening in the near future. But again, we are in the last 9 weeks of school, and we need your help to make sure that your student has the best 9 weeks that they've had. We do not want to send any students home in the form of suspension or expulsions. But again, we need your help in ensuring that your student or your child makes the right choice and decision all the time. because it happens every year when behaviors start to ramp up, and we don't want to see that happen at Keystone. We want to see everyone finish the year strong on a positive note and register early. If you have any questions, please come up to the school. We have done this meeting every day for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, but it can also apply to kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd as well. Thank you all so much and have a great day.